Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Miss J, and this is Unhinged After Dark, where we explore some of the most well-known and some of the most unknown twisted murder cases in the history of this planet. So come on, go ahead and grab your popcorn and let's get into it. Between July of 2021 and September of 2021, 4 inmates at the Suffolk County Jail in Boston died under what some would call mysterious circumstances because the details and the cause of their death has not been revealed. Among those 4 inmates who died was Aisha Johnson, who was a 35-year-old African-American woman who was a single mother of 2 children. Now, in Aisha's case, she had not even broken any laws, you all. She was simply at the jail waiting to be transported to a treatment center for an alleged alcohol addiction. So this is someone who didn't even break any laws, didn't do anything wrong, and was simply waiting to be transferred to a treatment program. And 1 hour after she arrived at the Suffolk County House of Corrections, she was dead. And then on that same day, another inmate died. Okay, so hearing about these cases got me to wondering what exactly is going on at the Suffolk County House of Corrections. And I started to dig a little bit deeper, y'all. And the things that I was able to uncover about this jail is very shocking. The fact that this jail is still up and running is very shocking to me. So I'm going to dive right into it. Let's dive into what's going on at this Suffolk County Jail and some of the information that I was able to uncover during my personal little investigation that I conducted. Now, the Suffolk County House of Corrections in South Bay opened on December 26th of 1991. The jail was located off of the Southeast Expressway in Boston, and it was a $115 million showcase. Now, this prison had locks on their doors instead of bars. They used computerized key cards instead of keys, and they also housed male and female prisoners. But within 9 months of the grand opening of this jail, allegations of sexual abuse and other misconducts would soon arise. Now, in 1999, the department ended up firing 3 correctional officers when it was discovered that a female inmate had become pregnant by one of these officers. And a DNA test later confirmed that one of these 3 officers was, in fact, the father of this inmate's baby. So when this happened in 1999, it sort of like shattered the silence that had been allowed to go on in this prison for so long. And it exposed a lot of the corruption and a lot of the misconduct that was going on in this prison. Now, at that time, the Suffolk County House of Correction was headed by Sheriff Richard J. Rusi. And it was said that Sheriff Rusi tolerated the systemic abuse and low standards at the Suffolk County House of Correction. So basically, y'all, this man was described as someone who was very aware of the abuses that were going on within those prison walls, and yet he chose to turn a blind eye to it. Now, in 2001, Karen Passanini, who was a former inmate at the Suffolk County House of Correction, filed a lawsuit against a former prison guard and a male nurse. Now, that lawsuit alleged sexual misconduct and sexual abuse. Now, what really caught my attention about this former inmate, Karen Passanini, is that, and please forgive me if I'm pronouncing her last name wrong, you all, but what really sparked my attention about her lawsuit is that she was allegedly, and I have to use that word, sexually assaulted by a former guard and also by a male nurse, okay, while she was in this jail. And she says that this male nurse forced her to have oral sex with him against her will and without her consent. Now, what really sparked my attention about this particular young woman is that the prison, the jail, they allegedly knew about this incident. They had received multiple complaints from female inmates regarding this particular male nurse, and they wanted to keep this hush hush. And this goes back to Sheriff rules, okay? The sheriff who oversaw this jail. This goes back to him, and this goes back to when I first said earlier that he had an attitude where he tolerated this abuse. He basically looked the other way. So what the Suffolk County House of Correction, what the administration there did when they got wind of all of these allegations, including this lady, Karen Passanini, when they got wind of all of these allegations regarding this male nurse, instead of him being arrested and him being, tried in court for his behavior, which was criminal. Okay, it's a crime to force females to have oral sex on you. He was allegedly raping women. He was doing a lot of things, and this is all criminal behavior. But because the administration was so worried about this getting out, they did not want this to get out and make the jail look bad. So what they did was, in 1999, they quietly fired this nurse. Now, all in all, in 1999, this was an explosive year at the Suffolk County House of Correction because a lot of prison guards started to get fired or either suspended after this particular one inmate who I talked about earlier, a female inmate, got pregnant by one of the male guards. And when they did a paternity test, when they did a DNA test, they found out that he was, in fact, the father. So in an attempt to, to do damage control, the administration, what they started doing was trying to weed out all of the bad apples, okay? But my problem with this, you all, is this, and I said it earlier. The jail was very aware. The administration, the administrators at this jail, they were all very aware of what was going on. None of them did anything to stop it until this female inmate became pregnant. Now, amongst some of the correctional officers who were fired was an officer by the name of Richard Powers, after it was determined that he had had sexual contact with a female inmate by the name of Lucy Diaz.